Welcome, friends, to another Nature Walks and Manifestations Talks episode. And maybe you also go for a walk like someone did in the previous episode as well. Adriana, I think it was. That's so cool because that's literally how I consume content as well very often. So go out, go to nature, make sure you're safe, but just enjoy the nature. If you have nice weather, it's really hot in here today, so I'm glad that I am in the forest because it's always a bit cooler here. And yeah, let's talk today about creating or finding your own peace in manifestation and how to keep it, how to protect it, and why is it so important? Why do I focus on it so much? Why do I focus on emotional regulation? That of course is going to create the peace for us in the first place and maintain it. So if you are interested in manifesting and spirituality, you already gathered so much information, and you probably already know that your nervous system is like your manifestation portal. All the mystics and teachers talk about peace, talk about how it is the only desire that we have, and that's true, that this is your true nature, but peace is always with you. However, in this life we create blocks and we only allow ourselves to feel love, peace, fulfillment only when we get certain things, which means that we limit these unlimited things for us and treating them as permission slip to feel certain things. And there was also heavily mentioned in the Bible, and Hermetics were talking about that as well, as above so below, meaning that when you reach that heaven state of consciousness, you live in this peaceful state all the time, and you need for nothing. And when you need for nothing, you are free. And no matter what it is that you want to create in your life, what you truly desire, whether it's money, relationship, peace and gratitude will be the states that we dwell in naturally when it's fulfilled, right? That's at least what we think that is going to happen, which very often kind of disappears after some time. And you know, we all know that things don't really bring in the lasting fulfillment in the first place, but we always try, right? It's really easy to forget. It's actually really easy to give in to the ego when something really positive happens in your life, and I have an example for that. So yeah, I'm trying to build this YouTube channel, right? And sometimes it goes really well, sometimes it doesn't go that well. And when it doesn't go that well, I can find a way to explain to myself that, oh, it doesn't matter, you're just putting out the information out there, that's your purpose. And I can kind of reason with myself that way. However, when there are some positive things, it's much more difficult to reason with myself because those are the good feelings and I want to feel them. So I give in. That's also the ego's domain. The ego will show you something very positive, and then you let the ego be in the driver's seat that way. Which we often don't really think about. We think that only the bad things come from the ego, but the good stuff comes from the ego as well. When you feel the joy because something happened, when you feel the happiness because you got something, you got a job or something. And it's very good to celebrate and feel these things, but always remember that these come from the ego. So that was the trap of the ego that I fell into, because when the YouTube was going really well, I started to be like, oh wow, yeah, this is happening, woohoo, And then after some time, when the views were not that good anymore, and because I gave in to the ego, what actually happened is that I spiraled to the negativity kind of more than ever because I just gave in to the ego with the positive things, but it just took me in that vulnerable state and maintained its grip and spiraled me to the negativity. So a very important lesson for me is that peace will never come from the ego. It will never come even from the positive things that the ego lets me to experience. So where does peace actually come from? The peace comes from you, from within, from the 99% of the world that is not visible to us. It comes from that spiritual domain. So you are the peace. The peace comes, first of all, it has to be in the present moment. Second of all, it has to be when we lose the identification with the mind, with this 3D, with this ego, with this human. The peace is like when you know that you could react to something, but you look at it as, okay, it's happening and this is not me. It has nothing to do with me, and you just move right out of it. This is the difference between responding and reacting, right? Notice how when you ground yourself in the present moment and just experience here and now, it doesn't have to be in meditation, it doesn't have to be stillness, it has to be just something that you focus on here and now without thinking about anything else or the future or the past, just being here and now. It could be deep work, but still being in the present moment. There are no worries. There is just peace. There is, you know, a purpose. And that's why I like to go to the forest or the mountains, you know, to feel the awe, because I noticed that the awe is this emotion that makes my mind just go absolutely blank. That's the emotion for me that is equivalent to the present moment. When you're in awe for freaking trees or whatever it may be, mountains, even your own existence, even your own consciousness, sometimes I'm in awe of that. You have no thought. Like, notice that next time you feel the awe, this quiet wonder. Peace is also the absence of thoughts that constantly bombard your mind. And I know that you know this feeling, and it's not the best. When you stop identifying with your mind, the thoughts also don't bother you as much, because they are just some noise that comes not even from you, because you are not the thinker of thoughts. If you were the thinker of thoughts, you would have to think of a thought and then it comes up, but that's not what's happening, right? The experience is that it just, well, all of a sudden just appears. Like, you have nothing to do with it. It just, you just experience it. You're the observer of the thought. You are the I am that makes the perception possible in that moment. And I don't know if you have the same experience, but for me personally, when I started to learn about manifestation, it was when I was, of course, in a bad place. I was very anxious. I wanted something to fulfill me. And what's really interesting is that I was feeling the least peaceful ever in that moment, really. It felt so much worse than before I found out about manifestation. But what I didn't realize is that I found out about manifestation as a part of my spiritual process, because I had a desire, right? We all have desires. Desires are not bad. But I had a desire, and I thought that this is going to fulfill me, while the biggest desire of all is always to come back to self, this self-realization, and just living in the present moment, this peace, this self-acceptance. That coming back to truth is what we all want. However, it looks like we want these smaller things, but there is only one ultimate desire, which is coming back to self, coming back to truth, to remembering who you are. And many spiritual teachers, like for example Neville Goddard, he talks about, you know, the desire that, you know, there is this wish fulfilled, that you have to just live in the end, and so on. But what he actually means, and not many people talk about this, is that by living in the end, what he means is that you should feel, you should live in peaceful and grateful state, as if you already have it, of course, but not as if, because you do, because everything exists right now. We just haven't learned how to select it with our awareness, right? Because we just manifest what we are aware of. It's just not within your awareness yet, or maybe it doesn't feel as natural to you. And Neville Goddard also talked about how you should live in the end, to bring there and then to here and now, right? To ground the future in the present with the power of your imagination. And that's entirely true. You can do that, but I want to offer an alternative interpretation to that. Mainly, the way I see it is that because there is only now, there is no then and there. And Neville Goddard knew that. It's just like, this is the way we understand things. But because there is no there and then, there is only here and now, we can bring there and then to here and now by creating the peaceful moment, embracing yourself in this peaceful moment, the present moment, and then imagine, and it doesn't have to be like in sats, it can be even just a simple affirmation, and then bring this feeling that you experience in imagination to this neutral, very peaceful state of being that you are in here right now in your physical reality. And it's not really about imagining the future, it's about remembering that it already happened and affirming to bring yourself to that state, but grounding yourself in the peaceful and grateful feeling that you experience in this moment. And this works because subconscious mind doesn't really understand words, right? It doesn't know what you're saying, what your affirmation actually is. You can say anything as long as you have an intention. Your subconscious mind knows what you want anyway, and you say it with this like emotional feeling load that then is recognized by subconscious mind because it only understands emotion and how it feels to you, if it feels natural. That's why you should bring yourself into this peaceful, neutral feeling and state, because it feels natural to you normally. You don't have to fake anything. Your heart knows your energy, right? I was talking about this in another video of mine about authenticity and manifestation. And then in this neutral, very natural feeling, just bring in what you want with a simple visualization or affirmation. And there is a very nice YouTube channel, the Soul's Playground, that Sam, I think her name is, she mentioned that there, and it just clicked for me that yes, we don't have to feel the elevated emotion. We just need to feel like it's normal to us. We don't want to bring our wish fulfilled, our desire on some sort of pedestal. We want to neutralize it. We want it to be as neutral as it gets because it is already ours. Whatever it is that you own right now, you probably feel pretty neutral about this. Maybe you feel grateful that you have it, and there are certain things that I really wanted to have, and now that I have them, I still feel like really grateful, and it boosts my mood when I use it, for example. But this is not a clingy feeling, it's very neutral, because anxiety and neediness is just creating this very repelling energy. There was probably a time in your life when there was someone who was like really into you, either romantically or just like as a friend, and because their energy was just so pushy, all you wanted to do was to just move away, to like create space, because there is a concept of energy balance. And I'm wondering if I can show you somehow, but I'll have to find a table. All right, so I was able to find this like picnic table so I can show you what I mean. So there is this like energy balance, right? That's something that I learned from Rory Ray. She used to share my feminine energy and so on. So this is credit to her. She like taught me that there is like, there is always the balance in energy. There has to always be space. And this works in relationships, any relationship really, but it also works with you and your desire, right? Imagine that this is you and this is your desire, and everything is universe. So when you're like this towards your desire because you really, really want it, okay? The desire has no choice because the space has to be maintained, and it will do this, okay? But when you're just like, oh, I don't care anymore, or I'm okay because I experienced it in my imagination, then the desire will be like pulled towards you. But because there always has to be this like space, it will just pull away whenever you really want it instead of just getting towards you. So that's just a concept that I think it's very crucial in your daily life, whether it comes to relationships or anything really. It's all about this energy balance. So that's what I wanted to explain. And lastly, how do you create that peace, right? Basically create some space for yourself, for reflection, and live in the present moment as much as you can. Set some boundaries with others, but more importantly still, with yourself, because how you respond to the promises that you make to yourself, and that includes to-do lists, or if you are planning to go for a run in the morning but then you're just like, maybe not, that's a promise broken between you and yourself. So this is something to definitely prioritize. Just create some mindful, still moments during the day and accept whatever is happening, because when you resist something, whatever it is in this 3D world, why resist something that is already here? That makes no sense. It's a wasted energy. So just be okay with what is, because if you don't, that's resistance, right? Look at everything as confirmation that, okay, everything I want is unfolding for me, and this is the way to it. Maybe there is a part of me that still needs to be loved and released because it cannot go with me to my dream reality. Maybe some shadow or some, past self. And remember that this 3D is just a shadow of your old beliefs. It's old news. Neville Goddard was saying that this is the world of the dead. And it is. Really nothing is happening here. So prioritize yourself and your peace, and always come back to the present moment, because the more we spend time in it, the less we identify with our mind and our thoughts, and we actually enjoy, which is why we are here. We are here to enjoy ourselves, right? So I hope that this video was helpful. Leave some of your insights in the comments below. I will be very happy to hear what you want to say about how you create your own peace, what you find challenging, for example. And if you went for a walk, I would be very, very happy to see more people going to nature and just spending more time outdoors. So that would be amazing. And remember, you are brave, you are loved. Be kind to yourself. Bye bye.